now, and maybe we can go. We are sitting outside with the big boss man here, Isaac. Can you share with us your name and what you do here, Isaac?
I'm Nyakojo Isaac, and the Family Spirit was started by people living with HIV and AIDS in the year 2000. That's when we formed a group of children, naming it Family Spirit. By 2000, we had 38 children, of which those are children who had been who had lost their dear ones due to HIV and AIDS. In 2002, that's when we first got another group of children who had been displaced by war, being brought in a truck, and they were just left there, and the people who brought them had told us that they would take them back in 2 or 3 days, of which they failed, and which led us into changing our constitution to involve all children infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. War, that is a war that, like now in Uganda, we have been having the Northern War and the home violences. So we look here at Family Spirit. We have various children who have been directly infected and affected by HIV and AIDS, war and home violences. More so right now, we have children from even Southern Sudan. We have children from the neighboring Congo, and we have children from Kenya. The Kenyan children were displaced by the confusion of the conflict of political conflict, and they were brought to, when they crossed to Uganda, and they were affected by a landslide where they lost all their parents. We couldn't, as we mind of children's lives, we had to receive them. Most of our biggest challenges here has been one, how to sleep. However, as of now, we are soon acquiring a new girls' dormitory, which has yet failed to be completed. That's one of the challenges. Another challenge which we are having has been water. However, we have tried to install now, currently we have 2 tanks of a capacity in total 16,000 liters, but all in all, they are not yet enough. At least we need some more 2 tanks. Then that's about water. Then electricity, we have also a problem of lighting and doing other computer work or any other thing, which we are also planning. At least we have secured some 4 batteries, solar batteries, but we still need the solar panels. And another big challenge is about the land. Though we have agriculture, we still have small land, whereby we need another bigger land so that we can do more of agriculture for food. And we have already planted maize. At least we need a grinding machine, because of recent we have experienced that in Uganda here, like in Masindi, a kilo of maize they are grinding it at 200 shillings per kilogram just. So that one is too much, of which the other time it was at least 50, but due to inflation it has hiked to 200, which may hike higher. So at least we need a grinding machine so that we can grind our own, prepare our own meals. And then not only that, that one can also help us to get the maize brand, which can help us in feeding our piggery and the poultry projects.
You were talking about, sorry to interrupt, but you were talking about inflation earlier with project budgets and also now food inflation. Working in Uganda, I've seen quite a few issues with instability and inflation. Can you explain more how that affects your operations at the school?
How this is affecting us, we don't have stable prices of commodities, essential commodities, more so. So you'll find that food prices, when the year was starting, a bag of posho was costing 80,000, that is 50 kilograms. But as of now, it has gone to 50 kilograms has gone to 100,000. So that is about 2,000 per kilogram. So at that rate, we don't know what will be happening by the end of this year. So that is the inflation I'm trying to talk about. And even when you look at the other materials like essential commodities like soap, sugar, all prices are going higher than expected. So that's what I was. talking
Okay.
about. Then another bigger challenge is about the children who are completing primary 7. After completing primary 7, we are going into stresses of looking for people who can support us in supporting these children at secondary level to get better education. However, it is a very big challenge. Though in Uganda we have USE as a government program, but it's not so competitive. The people are not doing well, the teachers. So we need to put our children who are brought up in better schools which can also they compete with others, because they are doing very well at primary leaving examination. And we are thinking also of at least maybe acquiring a vocational institution, so that those who fail to continue can also be put somewhere, so that if a child is living, family spirit should live with the complete knowledge and can sustain him or herself. That's why we also need a vocational school at least. And also on top, anyway, if we can have also a secondary school of our own, it will also be good. But we are seeing also vacation is a bit better. Transport also is our major challenge, of which transport to our farm has been so big. And we are lacking now taking the children to contribute to the farm, whereby they want also to practically contribute. But taking them there is very expensive. You have to hire a vehicle, which is quite very expensive.
Yeah.
So because now, as we would have involved the children would love to do what? To do that work, but they can't do it. They cannot do it.
Thank you.
They cannot do it. However, when the children are involved, that could be part of learning, and that could help them their future. At least some of them who are orphaned, who have some little land, they could be knowing how to utilize that land. So that's what transporting them is also. So we are lacking transport in general.
Yeah.
And
you have one motorcycle here. That's it,
we just
right?
only have one motorcycle.
Yes.
Which can only carry at least 2 people if we. But when that one is not allowed in the traffic laws. So it takes one and one who is riding it.
Off the record, how many people can a motorcycle hold? I'm just teasing.
Yeah. So that is another bigger challenge of transport. Otherwise, the children would be learning more about the farm, and that would be another sort of vacation. Yeah. However, the farmland is also small. We have only 15 acres where we want to graze animals, and where we need to have some crops for food. We are looking at it. When designed very well, it could be enough, but it is a bit small. We need to add on some more land. So those are the challenges we are facing. Then another challenge, the biggest challenge we are facing is we have skilled staff, but we cannot pay them. All of them are volunteers. This one is dangerous because at times when they advertise other jobs, we have to recommend them for those better jobs where they can be paid. So we don't have stable staff. And unstable staff also can also confuse more so on the school section.
Yeah.
Today they have another teacher, and after 2 months they have another one. That one also can confuse them. However, we have some teachers who have also persisted for over 4 years now. Yeah, we have them.
And you said English is the common language at the school.
Due to various children coming from various places and different countries, we use English, which unites us. So any child here can talk English, at least.
And you also said, you mentioned about the various religions that exist within Family Spirit.
Yeah, we have all religions are here, so we have tried to maintain culture and religion of these children, which is important to them, because we don't want someone who has been a Muslim to change to another one. We want he or himself can do it at his own after being 18 years.
That's very nice. Very nice. And getting back to some things you were talking about earlier, you said home violence as one of the reasons or one of the problems that kids are here. Can you explain that?
Yeah, home violence is in Uganda is growing higher due to we have more people who are very poor. So violences have grown up even now we are trying to advocate to the government to see to it that they bring us programs which can support the community. Otherwise, families are not stable, and you find families, they join today and tomorrow another one divorces. You find now the end result is to a child. So that one, to us, we look at such suffering children as the children now we are trying to bring up and come. Then in some families which are even stable, they are turning children for child labor, which is too bad. We see to it that the future of a child should be education. So that's why we talked of home violences.
And one specific story that Susan was sharing with me earlier about a young girl here. Could you tell me a little bit more about? I think her name was Annette or
Hassan.
The young lady in pink.
The young lady.
That was singing in pink.
Okay, the young lady.
Aminate?
Amina.
Amina.
Yeah. Amina had a problem of whereby in the home, in our home, they couldn't. After the father getting a stepmother, Amina became almost a slave at home. And when we learned of it, we tried with the other partners, including the government, to see to it that we have trained the father, maybe that family, to keep Amina in a safer. But all in all, because they had different beliefs, and which is related more to witchcraft and others, they turned Amina was almost going to be sacrificed, which was too much for us until when we had to bring Amina. We first stayed with her for 2 years. Even when we took her there, the 3 months she stayed there, it was worse until when we decided to remain with Amina, maybe until when she grows and then leaves us, when she can do her own, when she can be independent.
That's very nice. So you know, you're not only taking in people affected or infected with HIV, you're also helping other orphans.
Yes, we are looking at generally a child, and the difficulties children are passing through is what we are trying to look at and trying to advocate to the government.
Yeah.
Like last year, as I told you, that we were trying to see to it that if children are born without HIV and AIDS, then that will be less suffering in the families, and then we shall have less congestion. However, we are trying to advocate and see to it that we get other people also to be involved in such activities. We are training families so that they how to caretake for these children, so that we reduce. It's not our intention to have the children here, but we have those ones who are strictly from where they can't be.
Yeah.
And those who are homeless totally. We have various homes right now in and around Masindi district, which are also child-headed. We look at those when you find someone 14 heading a family, and you find the youngest who is 2 or 3 years. You have to remove at least the youngest, and then go on teaching those ones how to live.
Wow.
Yeah, because someone 14 cannot care of a child who is 2 or 3 years. Cannot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And again, getting back to the beginning of our conversation today, you mentioned children affected by war. And Susan mentioned earlier, maybe 1997 the war was over. Can you explain more about how the war produced orphans and who was involved in the war for people who may not know?
Okay. The war has been, it started small as a tribal war in the northern part of Uganda, and then to grew, which has now even grown beyond. It is now an African state war, because the leader now is living now in the Central Republic of Africa.
And who is the
Konyi, the leader Konyi, whereby he almost the whole of the northern part of Uganda was totally of war. People lost their lives, and children were left homeless. Others were gathered to camps, and camps at times could be burnt. Whereby the remnants who were remaining alive are the children whom we saw were suffering more because they couldn't make for themselves, and those are the ones. One time they were brought by an army truck, and then we received here.
And what year? I mean, this is still going on, you said, but is it still in Uganda, or is it above the Ugandan border?
Okay, right now there are remnants of some small wars and home violences, and some robberies which are now killing some of the parents. because of poverty, maybe because of we have some illegal arms, I think, which are remaining. But however, the side effect of getting the real parents of some of the children has been fruitless to us. We have tried, some have been reunited to some of the families in the northern, and some other organizations which are now in the northern Uganda took over some few children, but still the same, we have some children who have totally no families, and no one can believe that someone can live without a family. You can't trace where the dad or mom was buried, and then you live to stand and remain with that one until when that child grows. And however, same thing, when you go on the streets of Gulu, same thing, you will find some street children also are on a rise. So, I don't know, it is a general problem now. It's becoming a general problem. Children are really suffering.
Well, and a lot of people back home may not understand. We've heard a lot of things recently with this. There was a Coney video that came out that was, saying that the LRA was still working in Uganda and still a huge threat. Do you feel that it's still a huge threat here to orphan children or to bring violence in Uganda?
Yes, that one is true. Some people who are supporting, due to now we have parties. Now some parties, political parties, want to use that advantage of Konyi, and Konyi still have some relatives. And even the people he has are Ugandans. The people he has there, whom he is moving with, are still Ugandans. So those same Ugandans have contacts within the country. However, the security is trying to comb out those remnants and trying to sensitize. And we are also trying to sensitize the communities so that maybe the dangers of wars. As family spirit, we are trying to sensitize the community, the dangers of war, which also promotes HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
Because where there is war, HIV and AIDS is on a rise. Right now, in the recent paper, the recent research has shown that HIV and AIDS has gone up due to instability now. That is instability of poverty and the instability of various the remnants.
So the government is trying to clear out some of these relatives and things from Coney, but he is out of Uganda himself?
Those outside Uganda are still trying to contact these ones so that they raise the war. Because Konyi is not interested in being in Central Republic of Africa. He's interested in Uganda. So that same interest brings it back to Uganda.
I see.
Yeah. And now that's how he's going to other countries like Sudan, so that he gets that support, and then so that he can penetrate back to Uganda.
That's absolutely horrible. I mean, wow. It's obvious the kids have a lot to struggle with, but you have eased their pain, their struggle. You feed them nutritious food. I mean, I'm looking at all of these beautiful gardens. You really do. I mean, the quality of life you're providing is amazing. How do you find the energy to give so much of yourself?
What we have done, we share all food all together. There's no one who eats a different meal. We share in the same saucepan, and whatever is received is what we eat. And with nutrition, after some various trainings, we have learned more about nutrition. Since we couldn't afford much from the market, we are trying to grow it ourselves. Though we lack manpower, at times like we have a small farm there, we would be hiring people to work on the farm, but we don't have the money, but we are trying to see to it that we have put something for ourselves. That's why you are seeing all place is almost green, and that one also improves on our lives, more especially on the vulnerability of HIV and AIDS.
Well, and so speaking of green, you need two things to have green plants: sunlight and water.
Yes.
So with water, can you explain how you function during the dry seasons?
In the dry season, it has been a very big challenge, because in the dry season we use water which is counted per cubic meter, and which is very, very expensive.
Municipal.
At times it becomes too expensive, and we are always disconnected during dry season. And the children resort to carrying water. And the children cannot carry water for both preparing meals and doing some sanitary, like in the cleaning the toilets, plus also watering the plants. So that one is a very big challenge. That's why in our plan, we need some 2 more water tanks, so that maybe that one can be saving. And what we resorted to when we look at some of the dry seasons, we always reduce on the number of children, and it is and we send them to various families. We have tried to to pattern with some other people living with HIV and AIDS and other well-wishers to have our children in the holidays, so that maybe that one reduces on the population, and so that we can use the little water maybe which has been saved.
And you were telling me a little bit about the roofs up here earlier. I noticed they're kind of reddish, I'm sure, from dust and things, but is there also some rust up there, or is it rusting? Is it aluminum?
Yeah, that one is rusting, and not only the rust itself, but during dry season, we are near now the road. As the vehicles are passing, there is a lot of dust which comes up, and that one also contaminates the water which we have collected in the tank. And even the wind itself, during dry season, we have a lot of winds. So the wind raises up, and that soil also contaminates the water. It goes back on the roof which we use for collecting water, and that, so as it rains, the water goes back with the old dust in our tanks.
And in this tank here, are you using this right now? Because I know you mentioned that there was some red worm issues.
Yes, we are. When we try to remove the water and boil it first. We are using it. We have to boil it first. However, since we are living with children, we cannot control a child more. But you find another one has already taken it. We have tried to improvise to put another smaller bucket where we treat the water, so that they can take treated water. But in the end result, you find them using it.
Yeah. And how do you boil your water? With paraffin, charcoal?
We have always used water guard. Just treat the water.
So how expensive is water guard?
Water guard is not very expensive. Not very expensive, because a pill, one sacket has 10 pills, and each pill treats 20 liters of water.
Okay.
And one sacket can cost about 500 Uganda shillings. However, when you're buying the whole packet, you can buy it a bit cheaper at about, you find it at 300 when you buy the other whole bigger packet. And not only that, we have tried also to partner with the TASO, the AIDS Service Organization, to be giving us some water guard. Yeah, where we get treatment from, so we always go and get some water guard. When it is not there, then we buy in the market, from open market. So it has not been very expensive for us. But however, it is not easy to put that water guard, because the water guard, a pill is for 20 liters. We can't estimate how many until when the tank maybe can be full. That's when we can put it in the tank.
Yeah.
So we cannot estimate when it is halfway or 3/4. We will not estimate, and you have to see when the water is pouring out is when you can use the pills there. So it is a challenge there. We cannot do it.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you want to share with anybody?
In fact, another thing is maybe it is an appeal. As Family Spirit, it is a small community-based organization which accommodates each and every person. Whoever has any well-wisher, you come in, you join, you become a member. Joining and becoming a member doesn't mean that you have to pay in membership, but you contribute either with ideas, either you have somewhere to touch and say, I'm also helping, like others have contributed, like in contributing, even if it is a bed or a mattress, or even a bed sheet, even if you bought some cups for children to use while taking for it. And another bigger thing which I may have forgotten to talk about is we are now thinking of a dining hall, which we have an approved plan. I'm appealing to all all well-wishers to come in and so that we can come up with an organized place where children can eat from. Because as children come up there from with their food, when it drops down like this, he will pick it because that is the only share he or she has. And by picking it, ends up eating it from the soil direct.
From here.
From here, the soil. So that one, you not avoid diseases.
And the area, it will be right behind these sheets,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That would be very nice. Very
so
nice.
if we could achieve at least a dining hall, that would be another improvement on the welfare of these children. And on that dining hall, as per plan, there will be another tank as per plan.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Jacob, is there anything you want to say?
Jacob, can you greet the world?
Hello.
Say hello.
He's
Jacob
being
is
shy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Isaac.
Yeah, most
And thank you for having me.